Hi, in this video I'm going to be talking about the fields capabilities of the JenDoc document automation system. So that's these two tabs here, and first I'm going to go to this Fields Quick Insert tab. And what this tab allows us to do is it lets us insert fields based on roles that we have created and then populate those fields with contact information. So this screen only deals with contact information and gender information associated with those contacts. Okay, so let me show you quickly what I mean. So as you can see, some of these, we can have up to 20 contacts that we work with at a time. And we can use any number of contacts, but we can only do 20 at a time. So if you see here, I have some of these populated already. So Ebenezer Scrooge is the contact, and his role is miser. Well, until the end. Then he gets a new role. But anyway, and in that same story, A Christmas Carol, he has a fiance named Belle, who actually does not have a last name, and her role is fiance. Then we have John Doe here, and you'll see that he has no role assigned currently. And you'll notice the difference. These ones that have both a role and a name assigned have a green square. Buttons that only have a contact assigned and no role have a red square. And then if you look over here at this one, we have a role, attorney 1, but we have no contact. Same with this one, attorney 2. And those have blue squares. And the red square is kind of telling you to stop, and I'll get to that in a minute. But let's just take a look at this one. So Ebenezer Scrooge, actually let's do this one. Kent Gorison, his role is defendant. And then if we click on the button, we see that we have all these options. These are all fields that we can insert for Ken Gorison, defendant. Actually, these are just fields for defendant. I currently have Kent Gorison assigned to the field defendant, but we can change who is assigned to the role of defendant. So if I click one of these, what I clicked was name, full name, title, first, last. And so you see that inserted a block of fields for me. It's the defendant's title, the defendant's first name, and the defendant's last name. And then so I have several options here under the name field. I can do full name, first, last. I can do full name, last, comma, first. And then I can just insert individual parts of the contact name as well. And then that is pretty similar for a lot of these fields. We have some personal fields, date of birth, marital status. I'm going to get to the gender pronoun in a minute. Company name, job title, department. Business address, we have, again, we have some block options. We can do the full address block with the street, which I'm going to do. And you'll see that gets inserted with the defendant's business street address, the defendant's business address city, the defendant's business address state, and the defendant's business address zip code. And it's formatted as you would normally see an address. First, the street on one line, and then on the next line, city, comma, state, couple spaces, and then the zip code. And then again, we can also insert that as a P.O. box instead of a street. And then we also have, options again to insert. Oops, I inserted the country accidentally there, but there it is. I'll just leave it there. Again, we have options to insert individual parts of the address. And then for business communication, we have phone, mobile phone, fax, and email. And then over here, we have the same thing, only for the home address and the home communications. Okay, so I've inserted a number of fields for the defendant, and then I also have over here a role that I have assigned as plaintiff. So I'm going to go ahead and assign the same fields. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and assign the same fields for the plaintiff. I'll do the home address. on the plaintiff. And I'm not going to have the country like we have up here on the defendant. Then I'm going to add some gender pronouns. So we see here that the defendant is male. So I'm going to write a little sentence about this defendant. I'm going to say the defendant is male. Or actually, I'm going to say the defendant is hoping to win. And now I need a gender pronoun. So I'm going to come over here under the defendant and I'm going to go to gender pronoun and I'm going to choose the appropriate pronoun. Is hoping to win. So I'm going to choose this her, his, and you'll see it's capitalized, but it's not going to be capitalized when I insert the field unless I click this use initial caps, and I'll show you that next. So the defendant is hoping to win his trial. He is, oops, I need a field there. So here I want to capitalize, I want to put in a gender pronoun and I want to capitalize it. So I'm going to click use initial caps and now you'll see that's clicked. And so now when I put in the she, he pronoun, it's going to be, you see that it's actually capitalized. The field itself is capitalized as opposed to this one, which is lowercase. And so when we populate it, that pronoun will be capitalized. So he is very optimistic about, and I want to turn the caps off for this contact now. He is very optimistic about his chances. Okay, and I'm going to do something similar for the plaintiff. The plaintiff is hoping to win. And so I want to come over here to the plaintiff. I don't want to be on the defendant because the plaintiff has a different set of gender information. And you know, it needs to be, you see how these fields say defendant? This one needs to say plaintiff because it's the plaintiff. So the plaintiff is hoping to win her case. And then I'm going to capitalize this one. Then I'm going to say she is very optimistic. Oops, about, undo the initial caps, her chances. Okay, and so now I have all of these fields in my document. And so you see that I actually have contacts assigned to both the defendant and the plaintiff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and populate those fields. So I'm going to come over here to the JenDoc's Field tab, and I'm going to click this Populate Fields button. And we're going to see that all of these fields are populated, except for the fields where we don't have any information for the contacts. We don't have the title, so we might want to just take that out or update our contact information to put titles in. And you see that the contacts have been populated. Have been populated with the correct information. Kent Gorison is in fact the defendant, and Katina Coggin is in fact the plaintiff. Kent is a male, and so I'm going to just show you something here so that we can see these fields more clearly. I have this highlight all fields button, so I'm going to click that. And now we can see where our pronoun, we can see where all of our fields are, but since this is in the text, we can see more clearly where our gender pronouns are. So the defendant is hoping to win his trial. He, capitalized, is very optimistic about his chances. Defendant, male. And then we come over here for the plaintiff. The plaintiff is hoping to win her case. Capitalized, she is very optimistic about her chances. So, we see that that has all populated correctly. But what if I change the defendant and the plaintiff? And I'm also going to change their genders. So what I can do is assign different contacts to these fields. Now, since I'm going to come here and show you this, I have there's a button here to clear all of the fields. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And now we're back to just defendant and plaintiff fields. And so what I want to do is I want to assign different contacts to these roles of defendant and plaintiff. So I click this Assign Contacts button. And now I see all of the things that I have assigned up here, right? These are all the roles and all of the contacts that I have assigned. Ebenezer Scrooge, Miser, Belle, Fiance, etc. So I want to change the defendant. I want to change the defendant to woman. Some of these names, it's not extremely clear, the gender, but I think this one is a female. And for the plaintiff, we're going to go with Wilbur. Pretty sure that's male. And so then I'm going to update contact assignments. And it tells me that the contacts have been updated. I'm going to close this window. Sometimes you have to just go off the tab and come back to let it refresh. And now we see we have our new contacts assigned. So now Carmel is the defendant and Wilbur is the plaintiff, and their genders have switched. So these should fill in opposite of what we had last time. So I come over here to fields and I click populate fields. And we see that, yes, indeed, Carmel Elcom is the defendant, and all of her gender pronouns are correct. And now the plaintiff is Wilbur, and all of his gender pronouns are correct. Right? And I can do that as many times as I want, right? I change a defendant to Egbert, update the contacts. Okay, oops, close, repopulate, and now we see that our defendant is Egbert, and our plaintiff is still Wilbur because we didn't change that. Now we see that both sets of pronouns are male. So that's how that works. So then I want to explain these other situations where I have only assigned a defendant and I have only assigned a contact. So in this situation, this is perfectly fine, right? I only have the role assigned, and that's perfectly fine because I can insert any one of these fields and I'll get attorney 1, company name, right? I'll get attorney 2, date of birth, and have those fields that I can populate when I decide to assign a contact to them. Let's see if I have any data in these in these fields. So we'll just assign somebody to attorney 1, Apollonia, and we'll assign Lucille Ball to attorney 2, and we'll update the contact information, and then we'll populate the fields. Okay, so I didn't have a date of birth for the contact, but I have, I had whatever this field was. I think it was company name. So that brings me to another thing. This show hide field tags will allow me to look at the field tags in the document. If I happen to have the field populated and I don't know what it is, then I can look here. I can see this is attorney 1 company name. These are the start and end tags. Or I can do the show fields as a bounding box, and then when I click on them, I will also see the information. Or I can hide them, which is what I had before. Okay, so what was it? It was, attorney 1, company name. So that populated, and I think that's correct. I don't know that I have date of birth for any of the contacts in here. So that's fine. So if we have only the role assigned, that is fine because these fields are going to get, we can just do that, set up our document with our fields, and then later decide who belongs to each role, and then populate with our contact data. This one is a little bit problematic. If you only have the contact name, you still can enter fields for them, but as you see, it comes up contact 3. There's no role assigned to this. And this will populate with John Doe's information. If I populate the fields, you'll see that it puts in the information. The first name for John Doe is John. It populates it correctly, but the field name, let me do bounding box. The field name it's not clear what it is, right? It's let me clear all the fields. It's contact 3 first name. So what is contact 3? It's hard to say, right? Now you have to keep track of what role does each contact have. So just don't do that. And we have a red button here. I might even, try to prevent users from doing that in the future. But just don't do that. Just assign, insert the fields with a role assigned so that you can keep straight what the field actually is, what it means, so that it will make sense to you. So that's this. Like I said, you can do up to 20 different contacts at a time, but you can do as many as you want. So for instance, you see I inserted the defendant here, but then I can change that. I can change number 4 from defendant to let's see, I'm gonna have to erase one of these because you can only have one role per one role at a time, right? Every role has to be unique. That's why I have attorney 1, attorney 2, and then if you had multiple defendants, you'd have to do the same thing: defendant 1, defendant 2, or however you call them, primary defendant, secondary. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but whatever you want to call them, but they just have to have a unique name. So I'm going to change the defendant here to attorney 1. Oops. Did I already? Oh, that was attorney 2 I deleted. Okay, attorney 2. Update. And now if I come over here, see, this is now attorney 2. And I can insert, attorney 2's information. And the defendant information is still there, and that's fine. That's whoever I assign as the defendant. I can make this one now the defendant and populate it with the contact information. And this one will populate correctly with all the attorney information, and this one, if I assign this defendant, it will populate all these defendant fields correctly as whoever I have assigned there. So, it's only 20 at a time. You can switch them up and put more than 20 in your document. So that's that. So, like I said, we have this button to highlight all of the fields in the document, and then we can clear all of the highlighting as well. These don't do anything yet. That's something I was thinking of adding. I'm pretty sure they don't do anything yet. And then we have clear all fields, which I showed you. If we have it populated, we'll click this and we'll just have all of our contact data erased, and we'll go back to empty fields. We can show hide the tags. We went over that. Assigning the contacts, we went over that. Populating the fields. These are not operational yet. These, I'm working on functionality to allow you to insert any kind of field, create your own fields and insert them. Conditional fields. I know there's a lot of types of fields I'm missing, like date fields and, conditional fields and just any kind of field that you could want to put in there. Right now, I only have contact and gender fields done. But the other stuff is coming soon. I also need to add functionality to allow users to add contacts and roles to the system, because what you're seeing now are just contacts and roles that I added in a not very user-friendly way. So I need an interface that will be friendlier. So I think that's it for fields. And and again, if once you've set up your fields, you can save them as quick parts. I'll just show you one really quick. And for this, you see it's taking a minute to open. That only happens the first time that you open this window. I'll show you again. I do it again. It's really fast, right? Because the first time you open it, it's opening some files, and that's why it's taken a while to come up. Not, just a couple seconds, but still. So I'm actually just going to clear this document. I'm going to start new, and I'm going to put in some text that I had saved before. Oops, not that one. Charles Dickens. Because I have this quick part that I had saved with fields in it. You can see here I've got my fields for the miser and the fiance. You can see here. It's a description of A Christmas Carol, and so I have that saved already, and then I come over here, I see, well, I have these roles assigned, Ebenezer Scrooge and Bella as the fiance, so I can just go ahead and populate these fields. And it's all getting populated. These were only, I didn't do the names themselves, I only did the genders. So you see that all of the genders are populated. We got the he's for Ebenezer, we got the she's for Belle. And so again, you can, once you create your document, you can save it and then quickly populate it. Okay, so I think that's it for fields, and I'd be interested in any feedback that you have for me, and thank you for watching my video.